Eastern investors are increasingly interested in Chinese-made EVs. Nasser Al-Bahri, director of the Electric Vehicle Innovation Summit, said last year that the EV market will grow at an annual rate of 27% in the UAE alone over the next 5 years. Why are Middle Eastern investors looking east in the EV sector? And what can Chinese EVs offer to the oil-rich region in their green energy transition? I was pleased to be joined from Kuwait by Dr. Faisal Al-Manawar, chairman of KX Power, a UK-based environment-friendly energy supplier, and from Shanghai by Professor Ying Hai Tao, vice dean of Antai College of Economics and Management of Shanghai Jiao Tong University. Dr. Al-Manawar, let me go to you first. We have been hearing a lot of interest from countries, from especially sovereign funds in the Middle East, embracing projects in green energy transition. Why such interest? Why is it important?
Thank you for having me here. Middle Eastern countries, as you know, are increasingly embracing the energy, green energy to be more specific, transition for several reasons. Among such is diversification in economy, environmental concerns, global trend, and perhaps as well energy security and economic opportunity. To discuss some of them, let's talk about the diversification of economy, which is a little bit more toward my expertise. Well, many Middle Eastern countries have economies heavily reliant on oil and gas exports. That's well known. And diversifying their energy sources, in fact, help reduce dependence on fluctuating oil prices. We have realized that during the last decade, I assume, dramatic fluctuation in oil prices, and also creates new economic opportunities in perhaps in the renewable energy sectors. And in addition to that, the economic perspective is pretty important, but environmental concerns perhaps is more reliant as well. The Middle East is experienced in environmental challenges such as you may know, air pollution, water scarcity, and desertification. Transitioning to green energy perhaps helps address these concerns by reducing greenhouse gas emission and maybe also promoting sustainable energy. But maybe the most interesting to me is creating job opportunities, and to be more specific, economic opportunities as the umbrella talking here. The green energy transition presents significant economic opportunities like job creation, technology development, as well as investment attraction. The Middle Eastern countries are keen to capitalize on these opportunities, basically to stimulate economic growth and diversification.
Professor Yin, let me get your perspective here. How important is the Middle East as a market for Chinese-made new energy vehicles? How are they doing now?
Oh, well, as you know, China's electric vehicle market has been developing so rapidly in the last 10 years, especially in the last 3 years. The market exploded, and I think any international market is very important to China's automobile maker, because our production capacity is so high and actually far exceeded our domestic demand. Not only Middle East market, Southeast Asia, European market, they are all important for China's automobile makers. And from the perspective of Middle East, as our guest said, Middle East country, they also have a desire to electrify their economy, including their transportation system. And China's battery technology, electric car technology has been leading the market. So actually, I think investment in this mature technology, battery, achieving a more effective international collaboration is mutually beneficial for both parties.
Dr. Almanawar, why are Middle Eastern funds and investors particularly interested in Chinese EV makers? What specifically are they looking for?
That's an interesting question. Let me answer it from the Middle East in general, and not specifically to the sovereign wealth fund, but in general.
Okay.
This can be attributed to, in fact, several factors, among which is market potential, technology, expertise in China, and bilateral relations. Talking about market potential, China is well known now that it is the largest EV market in the world, with a rapidly growing demand to electrical vehicles, driven by government incentives mainly, environmental policies, and consumer preferences. The Middle East investors even more recognize opportunities to capitalize on such vast market and perhaps take part in its growth. Additionally, technological expertise is an important factor. China has emerged as a global leader in EV technology with significant investment in research, development, and manufacturing. The Middle Eastern investors recognize the value of accessing Chinese expertise in EV technology, as well as battery manufacturing and perhaps even more related infrastructure to EV. Perhaps the final point, and I think it is critical, is divergence of investment and also bilateral relationship. So talking about divergence of investment, the Middle Eastern countries are looking to diversify their investment portfolio beyond the traditional sectors like oil and gas, which is well known for. Investing in Chinese EV industry offer diversification, obviously, diversification in opportunities and exposure to high growth sector with potential lucrative return. And the final point is the bilateral relationship. I believe it's important to, in terms of strengthening economic ties and bilateral relationship between the Middle East and China would motivate investment in various sectors such as EV industry. And collaborative ventures in electrical vehicles can, in fact, enhance trade relations and foster mutual economic benefits as well.
Professor In, what's in for Chinese EV makers to receive investments from the Middle East? What kind of opportunities are they looking for? Are Chinese car makers looking for?
The global warming is a critical issue for our society, for the global society. And, firstly, in order to stop global warming, win the war against climate change, firstly, we have to electrify the economy. Secondly, we have to turn our, energy need to alternative energy or new energy. So when we think about the opportunities for electrify the transportation system that present a huge economic opportunities. Clearly, China is leading the industry on many, many aspects, including the battery industry, including the intelligentization, etc. So I think China will try to develop the electric car industry. We try to catch the opportunity that has been present and that has been provided by our need to deal with global warming. And at the same time, we need investment from the Middle East, from all around the globe, to further develop our technology to create competitive advantage compared to other, automobile makers. So I think that's valuable for China's automobile maker.
And very important question, which is the potential for cooperation. Are there any specific examples already, Dr. Almanawar, that you can share with us?
Well, there are several examples of potential cooperation, I believe. Infrastructure development, on this angle, I believe Chinese Belt and Road Initiative presents opportunity for collaboration in infrastructure development projects across, of course, I'm talking the Middle East, including transportation, energy, and maybe as well telecommunications infrastructure, are all keen to do that. Chinese companies can contribute expertise, financing, and technology to support infrastructure development in the Middle East region. And talking about energy cooperation, I think that's critical because the Middle Eastern countries possess abundant energy resources, while on the other hand, China is the world's largest energy consumer. So that's a nice marriage here, I believe. Cooperation in the energy sector includes oil and gas exploration, production, transportation, and the investment in renewable energy projects is critical. For instance, Chinese companies have invested in renewable energy projects in countries like United Arab Emirates and Saudi Arabia. And now with our arguably famous prime minister, we're hoping we're gonna follow their steps, or perhaps even be a leader back, similar to what we have been 30 years ago, 20 years ago, and many, many other years. Regarding the trade and investment, which perhaps is my favorite part here, bilateral trade and investment between China and Middle Eastern countries continue to grow, with cooperation in sectors such as manufacturing, infrastructure, to be more specific, construction, agriculture, technology as well. And Middle Eastern countries offer access to markets, natural resources, obviously, and investment opportunities, while on the other hand, China provides capital, technology, market access to the Middle Eastern product.
Many thanks to Dr. Faisal Al-Monawar, Professor at Kuwait University and Chairman of KX Power, and Professor Ying Haitao, Vice Dean of Antai College of Economics and Management of Shanghai Jiao Tong University. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.